Revisiting the Timberwolves trade history. The Wolves have a history of making moves, from Stephon Marbury to Rudy Gobert. How can we classify them? Since the franchise's founding in 1988, the Minnesota Timberwolves have completed 53 trades. Only 11 of those trades contained a first-round pick, and the Wolves were involved in only 5 of them. 7 of the 11 have occurred since 2014. We live in a time where picks are traded and tossed around at breakneck speed, mostly because there is value in the uncertainty. So here's what I want to know. What have the Wolves' trade picks evolved into? How did that play out? And, maybe most importantly, how can I spite Bill Simmons? Simmons has this theory of certain franchises having more valuable draft picks because of poor historical records. Clearly, Los Angeles Lakers picks have no value. Let's begin. Trade Group 1, that doesn't move the needle. There's nothing here. You're wondering who cares? Me. I do. Anyway, in 2015, the Wolves traded their 2018 first-round pick for Adrian Payne, RIP. That pick eventually landed at 19. Funny enough, the Wolves would later trade Ricky Rubio to the Utah Jazz for a first-rounder, which became the 20th overall pick. The 19th overall pick became Kevin Huerter, while the 20th pick became Josh Okogie. I miss you, Josh. Both have left the team that drafted them. Would I prefer Huerter, who has become an impact starter for the Sacramento Kings, over my beloved Josh Okogie? Yeah, for sure. But this is not that important of a shift. Its overall impact is probably similar to Chase Butinger's 2014 VORP 0.0. Next up, we have the Stephon Marbury/Ray Allen swap. Now, when I first started keeping up with basketball, this was one of my favorite what-ifs, but I insist that Marbury could have been wondrous with KG if it wasn't for egos. However, the drop-off is unavoidable. Allen turned into a better, less volatile pro, yada yada yada. I'd call this one a no-harm, no-foul situation. Like what should have happened on the Anthony Edwards over Gabe Vincent dunk. Trade Group 2, kinda disastrous but long ago. The first trade to look at happened when I was not even in kindergarten. In 2005, the Wolves traded Sam Cassell and a 2012 first for Lionel Chalmers and Marco Jaric. One could argue that the Wolves traded both the best player and best asset in this trade, but I'd feel a whole lot worse about this if I was old enough to remember it. On the other side of things, the Los Angeles Clippers had, at the time, their best season in franchise history led by Cassell, and the Timberwolves draft pick became current Wolf Austin Rivers, who, most notably, was used as part of the Chris Paul trade. If we were to give this trade a grade, it'd have to be somewhere between the pre-hustle perception of Juancho Hernangama's defense on Wolves Twitter and the post-Rachel Nichols interview outlook of the 2018 season. Either way, not good. Welcome to the present. I'm pretty sure everyone knows the 2 trades I'm about to talk about. There are 2 trades that became the basis for this current Wolves team. There is the D'Angelo Russell-Andrew Wiggins swap, and there is the recent Gustavian. Let's end with the Gobert trade and go chronologically here. There's one other huge factor we need to keep in mind for Wiggs. Is there any other team that had any interest in trading for Andrew as anything but a salary sponge? The Wolves bought high on D'Lo, who was a good player, and sold low on Wiggins, who was a good to great player, attaching Jonathan Kuminga, who could be a good player, to make it happen. Wiggins signed a 4-year $109 million extension this past offseason, while D'Lo was playing out the last year of his deal and will probably want a similar or higher valued contract. On the other side of things, let's talk about Gobert. Or rather, let's talk about what we know for sure. The Gobert trade has opened a championship window for the Wolves. The Gobert trade is the type of trade Tim Connelly was hired to make. And lastly, the Gobert trade has had 14 games worth of evidence, 12 if you want to be technical. Don't overreact. The Wolves traded a lot, sure, but this is not the 19th pick for Payne trade. This is not the Cassell trade. And these are not the same old Timberwolves. Oh, and as for proving Bill Simmons wrong, you'll have to come back for that one. Just like with the Gobert trade, there's a whole lot of data left to collect and analyze.